you and I both know the cost of these in the long term. This type of investigation and databasing and all of this sort of thing, this could be an immensely, tremendously expensive. And of course, it's another mandate upon school districts because they're going to be part of tracking those children. So it isn't going to be the sim and the cam now. It's going to be, you're going to be tracking for the children's program.
Okay, what you mentioned the sim and the cam, that was one of the issues that was raised by Senator Starr in the last special session.
Yes, it was.
What exactly is a sim and a cam, and how much are we talking about as far as money?
Well, a sim and the cam is a certificate of initial mastery and then advanced mastery. And one of the things that we've attempted to do was to establish what kind of cost that we're talking about. And what we have right here is the best estimate that we've been able to come up with. And as you'll see, the total amount going to K through 12 is $7,160,000,000. And what we found out, the 7.9%, was a really amazing number that came from one of the school districts down in the Eugene area. Now, a person who tracks their expenditures down to 7.9% is probably doing the most efficient job in the state of managing the sim and cam costs. He still contends that it is that if you took that 7.9% of the total, it would be over $565 million worth of costs for the sim and cam. And the sim and cam, if you remember, a lot of the sim and cam costs are relative to tracking the portfolios that are built on every child. It's very similar, if you think about it, to some of the theory behind the children plan. So your portfolio, our dossier on you, could be pretty extensive. It sounds like a foreign country, doesn't it?
Yeah, like maybe Nazi Germany or the Soviet Union.
Well, in a few years ago,
places they just changed its locations. That's all.
Well, yeah, you know, and sometimes you wonder they're going towards freedom and we're going towards totalitarianism. But I think Oregonians need to be very much aware of this because it is a condition of when you have an explosion of the size of state government, and at the same time the economy is turning downward. That is a bad scenario.
Collect signatures to get the Oregon's constitutional court system back in place. Mm-hmm. It's still on the books. They just ignore it.
Right.
For a legislative statutory system. Because if we go back to constitutional government, what are they going to do with all these state workers?
Well, if you think 55,000 people are employed K through 12, and about 45,000 people are employed by the state of Oregon, you know, you end up with a tremendous number of people that are actually employed by government. One of the things that bothered a lot of folks as we saw 40,000 jobs be lost in the Oregon economy, at the same time our governor was hiring about 4,000 people. So the private sector, the people who generate the money, were losing 40,000 jobs, and the governor's adding 4,000 jobs to state rolls. Now the problem with that is that you must now provide the PERS and all the benefits, and then you must roll that up into the budget that we're anticipating for next year. And I'm telling you, that next year's budget could be so bad, you may have January come and no legislators show up. Hopefully everybody understands that's a joke, but the point of it is a very, very serious issue to be walking in there next session, rolling up the costs that were never trimmed. There's been no cuts. You know, if you've been listening to the mainstream media, folks, you've been hearing cuts, cuts, cuts. There are no cuts. This budget right now that the governor may veto parts of, it has a 13% increase by any reasonable economist or accountant's analysis of the budget, between 10 and 13. But I believe it's 13% increase. This is not a decreased budget. This is a significant increase in the budget. And as one person said, and I think it's a really good way to report it, that this is a slight reduction in a massive increase. And that's probably a good way to put it. In fact, you know, we could go to that beautiful colored graph if you want to.
Okay.
You want to do that? Because this really kind of says it all. Now, you guys, we're going to focus on this in just a second. And as soon as that camera brings it in, there we go. Now, this looks like some kid went berserk with his drawing machine. But as you'll notice, that big top red line, that's the growth of the state budget. And the second one, of course, is all funds, that yellow line right there, coming across on that. And of course, the next line down, we were just talking about state employees, that green line right there, that is the growth of state employees. And you can see the period of time at the bottom. That black line right there is the Dow Jones, and guys, this was before this recent reduction, so we better draw that line a little bit more pointed down. And of course, that next line down, it just shows a gradual decrease. That's your income. That's your income going down. So all of the things above are the growth of government. If you have a stock market portfolio, it's going down. And of course, if you have Intel stock, there's the direction of Intel stock. In fact, actually, just yesterday, we had the announcement by Intel of very serious layoffs, including Oregon. Yes. And so this is very serious business we're talking about here, because the state cannot print money like the federal government.
No, and you were talking about earlier that we're losing jobs, and
absolutely.
Earlier you were talking about why we're losing the jobs. You might want to tell the people why we're losing private sector jobs.
I served on several committees that have been basically looking at this issue, but particularly in November, December, when we realized how fast the economy was dropping, they brought us in to Jason Atkinson, Senator Atkinson's committee, to look at the economic stimulus, what could be done to turn this thing around. What we heard from business people, from farmers, from you name it, people all over the state was, get out of my life. That's the best way to help me to be successful, is to get government out of the regulation, that stranglehold that it has on Oregonians. And whether it's a business person who now has ODOT come in and remove the access to their business, bubble curbs that are put in front of your business so you can't get trucks in to bring the supplies that you'd like to sell, to people who are being asked to fund massive projects through system development charges in order to have a new facility be built in one of our cities. This is a major issue. In fact, one of the ones I think might be interesting to people is, let's take a look at this, because a lot of times, you need to know, how do you compare with other states? Now, we'll talk about this, but I'm going to go ahead and hold this one up right now, and we're going to get that on the screen there. Oregon family income versus tax collection. The median family income in Oregon is lower than 35 states. Lower than 35 states. But the revenue, now this is the amount of collections that we get from those same taxpayers, is higher than 35 other states.
What's wrong with this program?
Yeah. What should be up is down, what should be down is up. But the amazing thing about this set of numbers is that it probably doesn't reflect how bad it really is. We had the Governing Magazine, which is a nationally recognized magazine that all legislators and local government officials take, that indicated that when it comes to expenditure per person in Oregon, we're higher than 42 other states. Higher than 42 other states.
Ouch.
We are in the top 7 here of the states that are the highest in expenditure per person.
So the state is spending all this money that we have, but what is the condition of our economy?
Well, yeah, I did. I brought some things here I think that might be interesting, because as we put this thing up, you're going to notice that it's way worse than this. You'll notice we had the NASDAQ on there, heart-stopping 70%. Well, we probably ought to make that 80% or 90% now. I didn't check the numbers. This is about a month and a half old. If you'll notice in Japan, the Nikkei index dropped and has never really recovered, which it's been a decade now.
Yeah, and 1990?
1990, and absolutely. And you look at the blue chips here, and where they have headed, 12 to 25% below, that's way down now. I'd probably make it 35%. And by the end of 99, I think it is, 60% of the public pensions, this one right here, get my finger in the right place,
yeah.
Yes, were invested, and that's just about, Mike, if you'll throw that laser on there, this 60% is about what we're investing.